We're ready.
And here we go, all systems go. So exciting. Good morning, good day, good
Yay!
afternoon, good evening. All the different time zones that may or may not be watching. Streaming live to Facebook, my 2024 idea to, to expand the show's horizons. So you guys, welcome to another episode of Startup Stories on Powerful Inc.'s podcast. Today I have Gordana Sretenovic joining me, and she's bubbly and fun and bright and smart and talented, and I've just had such a good time getting to know her leading up to recording. And today she's going to help me understand more of what she's created, as well as share her story as to, how she got here. But we always try to get beneath the how we got here as to, what pushed on us, what challenged us, and how we recognized and took opportunity on what was being presented, having that awareness. So welcome to the show, Gordana.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait to chat with you today.
That's awesome. And I have I meant to do something at the beginning of recording, so I'm just going to do it now. Dobro jutro.
Ah, there you
Kako si?
go. Dobro, hvala. Oh my God, that was one of the things that just made me fall in love with this whole idea. I could not believe that you are like actually closely familiar to my part of the world, which almost never happens whenever I talk
Mhm.
to people. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents left Yugoslavia in 74. And they
Oh
had to pick,
wow.
yeah, they had to pick between Canada and Australia, and they picked Canada because it had French, and that was a little bit more familiar. So, and then in
Also closer.
2015, yeah, closer to, yeah, but I could have been Australian, and how cool would that be? And in 2015, we traveled there and spent a month going back to all the countries and their old haunts. And oh my God, that's a whole, we'll chat about that offline because it was like mind blowing. And to listeners, if you get an opportunity or create the opportunity to go and spend time in your parents' roots, you learn so much about your family lineage and your parents' story. And like, they're obviously older than us. And so my parents were immigrants to Canada. They came with basically nothing, as the story goes. And um, going back to the homeland with them and being able to really appreciate what they created and how they rose to the opportunity, how they really, didn't,
Mhm.
they weren't gluttonous with anything. Like they were
Yeah.
very intentional and not that it was perfect and mistakes weren't made, but it was an incredibly beautiful experience to, sort of see somebody else's life story firsthand, especially my own parents. So anyway, maybe
Yeah,
I'll share.
100%. You
I
should talk about it. I think
should
it's
talk about
exciting.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the world is becoming kind of more and more uh global, I guess is the
Yeah.
word. Everyone's
Yeah.
moving everywhere.
Yeah.
My friends now, I'm in my 30s and people have kids and they just move out of the country and go somewhere else and they kind
Oh,
of document their journey on, Instagram. But our
right.
parents didn't have that.
Yeah,
So
right.
it, it's just really nice to go and actually learn about the culture and
Hmm.
everything that you kind of came from, where your
Hmm.
parents came from. So you
Hmm.
should talk about it. I think I would listen to it. It's a pretty interesting
Okay,
story.
I'll do
Yeah,
it. We'll create some
awesome.
sort of video storytelling situation.
Yeah,
And
that would be
how can I
cool.
use that in my content marketing?
Everything is content. You know what
Everything
they
is
say.
content, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about where you got to today. So you created an agency and then that stretched into another spin-off business. You said the two are
Yeah.
associated. So tell us what you do, and a little bit about the journey towards that.
Yeah. So the journey was definitely interesting. I was like a classic literature student studying English, reading books all day. And turns out teaching is just not something that I was into. And I became a freelance writer. I was still in school, it was just a little art website that I worked on, and a
Mm,
couple other clients that I had. But it was really interesting, and it kind of brought me into this world of content that is now insane compared to what it used to be, back in the day.
So what
Um,
around roughly the year of when you started versus the evolution you've experienced?
yeah, so this was like 2013, I would say, when I
Okay.
started, and
Hmm.
honestly, it was difficult. It was hard. Remote work wasn't really a thing back then, and
Hmm.
you were kind
Hmm.
of labeled lazy, I guess, when you worked
Ah,
remotely, like, oh, you don't work, it's fine. But it was actually in 2019 when I met my co-founder, and he's my CEO now.
mhm,
And we started this marketing agency that's, still going strong, still actually stronger than ever.
mhm,
So we literally built it from the ground up. It was just the two of us working with freelancers, trying to get clients, sell them our content knowledge and our marketing
mhm,
services.
mhm.
And we built our team to actually 45 people. We have some amazing case studies. It was an SEO agency, by the way.
Okay.
We have some amazing case studies. I think we did 6 projects from 0 to 100K, and one
Wow.
of them got to 1.5 million organic visitors, which
Okay.
for folks that don't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And basically, what we did was we published a lot of high quality content to bring readers to their website who
Hmm.
would in turn buy their services or products or whatever it is that the client has. So it is a pretty powerful marketing tool. And we can talk about it more later if you want to. But that kind of spinned off into the startup thing,
Yeah.
which is called Workello, where we kind of realized that other agencies and other companies are also struggling pretty hard to find really good writers, editors, just in general, people to take care of their content. So
Hmm.
we curated Workello, which kind of helps you do that in a
Like a
more
matchmaking
streamlined,
service, right?
something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, it's kind of like an applicant tracking system, but with built-in
Mm-hmm.
testing abilities. So whenever I hire writers, editors, creatives in general, I like to send them a little test first.
Hmm.
You never know now with AI and everything,
Yeah.
kind of what
Right.
people are capable of. So I always like to do a little test, and that's usually a pretty manual task. But we found a way to automate it and just
Okay.
make it kind of like a click of a button. So
Okay.
um, definitely a big career switch.
But still
uh,
writing. And so do you still get to express yourself that way, or has your role and your focus shifted as you created these two companies?
it has definitely shifted. So I quit writing in 2019.
Okay.
I was getting very tired of it. Writing is a very, very hard job that unfortunately I don't think a lot of companies and people in general understand how difficult it is to be a good writer
Hmm.
and how important it is to actually have a good writer on your team, and
Hmm.
that everything depends on content. Whatever you do, if it's videos, if it's actual articles, it all has to be written down. So it's a very, mentally draining
Hmm.
part of work for me. Some people are obviously way better at it, and it
Well, and
does
there's
make
a
me.
difference writing for yourself than writing for someone else,
Yes.
right? You have to embody a different energy and really connect, like
Yeah.
acting in a way, and drop into
Yeah.
their whole vibe, and pull out of
That's
it.
exactly it. Yeah. It's definitely way more easy to write for yourself, which I'm
Yeah,
seeing now,
yeah.
with our business and everything. It's easier for me to create content for Workello and for my agency
Hmm.
than it ever was to create content for my clients when I was a writer.
Hmm.
But obviously, there are a lot of writers out there who are incredibly good at
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I do recognize that it's very draining and not that respected. So I actually quit writing in 2019 to turn
Okay.
to more of an
Yeah.
editorial role,
Yeah.
and be more on the operational side of things, which
Mm.
was very interesting. But it's definitely something that I've never done before. And, if anyone who's listening ever had a big partnership like that, you can often feel very lost and kind of like you don't belong there.
Hmm.
You don't know what you're doing, and you have to figure stuff out on your own. And all I have to say is you can do it. It is possible, but you have to kind of believe in yourself and understand that,
Mhm.
you are smart and you are capable, and just
Yeah.
apply the skills that you had before to whatever you're doing now, because there's always overlap, whatever it is that you're doing
Yeah.
with your previous experience. Um, so it was definitely a big journey.
So, there's a few different things to pull apart in here for me. As a startup, if we're like, how important is search engine optimization? And is that
Mhm.
what helped grow the different clients' followings, from, you said 100,000 up to 1.5 million? So
Yeah.
right now, personally, I'm having a hard time growing my audience. I like to write. I write blogs, and then I use those in email and, copy paste onto socials and that sort of thing. And I
Hmm.
haven't delved into SEO because I'm like, I'm just getting used to the pieces that I have, and then
Yeah.
I layer on. So, um, maybe compare the difference of having some of that built in, and how hard is it versus perceived hard, um,
Hmm.
and then the return on investment of
Hmm.
actually doing it.
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. I would say it is incredibly important. Uh, if you are running any kind of business, you should be investing in content, because that's pretty much, whatever type of content that you're doing, it's the only thing that's telling the world who you are. So I would say it's really, really important. And I understand the concerns. People, I think, overcomplicate SEO too much. So it's not as hard as it actually seems to be. But when you Google, how to do SEO, or how can I do SEO for my own business, you get a bunch of these articles that are telling you about, 1,000 ranking factors, and you have to do this and you have to do that. Yeah, that's all good, but you don't really have to do any of that. You just have to put good content out.
Mhm.
Obviously, there is a little bit of a process. You probably heard doing keyword research and kind of optimizing according to the keywords that people are Googling for, but
Mhm.
that's also not a hard part. I think the hardest part is actually creating the content.
Mhm.
Um, because if you are a startup and if you really want to be huge and organic, because return on investment is actually huge, um, it is, difficult to find the resources to write all that content, or to produce all those videos, or whatever type of content that you're doing, because you do have to publish a lot to be considered an authority on the subject. I
Okay.
can't just write one article
Yeah.
on something and claim authority on it, because how do people know that I am, or how does Google know that I am, if I
Okay.
don't have all of this supporting content that's kind of supporting my claim that, hey, I'm an expert in this. Um, but I mean, it is definitely possible. It is an investment, but I think it's an investment that pays off way better than, for example, paid ads,
Mhm.
because ads work, like, I'm not gonna lie, they work really, really well, and they work instantly. Like, this SEO is not like that. It will not
Mhm.
work instantly. It will work, 3 or 6 months from when you publish.
Okay.
But after those 3 or 6 months, when your articles start ranking, there's no stopping, until something better comes out, which, if you did a really good job, what are the chances that someone's going to knock you down
Oh yeah, right.
super
Like you
fast?
plant your
So
flag.
your website just keeps
Mm.
growing and
Yeah. Okay.
growing and growing. Yeah, yeah. So you plant the seeds, and you get roots, I guess, a little bit later
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
with classic ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. But ultimately, it is cheaper, I think. It is more long term. You get a better effect because it just stays there on your website. It's yours. It's not, you're not borrowing anyone's space, and
Right.
you're not
You're
spending like
also
hundreds of thousands of dollars per
practicing.
month for ads.
And you're growing your skill as a CEO. And so you're getting more familiar with your content, with your message, the clarity, um, and the connection, probably, like, you're building that relationship with the client. So anytime you write an article, you do so, close your eyes and visualize the person that you're going to be serving, and really connect to
Yeah.
them. And and have that conversation through the written word, put it out there. What I like about what you just said too is it builds something that kind of stretches across the internet in a different way, rather than like a Las Vegas flashing light sign
Yeah.
of a Facebook ad, right? So I'm already seeing the benefits of this ongoing fitness plan, really, right? Content writing fitness plan,
Yeah.
as you grow yourself and all of that. And so when writing these articles, is there like 5 or 10 keywords that you're using and you intermix them between the different articles, but you try to be consistent with them? And then when somebody searches how to start a female online business, then, Powerful Link comes up because I have a lot of that language in my,
Yeah.
say, 30 articles or something. And that's where I get to start climbing Mount Everest to plant my flag.
That's exactly it.
Okay, cool.
We do have a little bit of a process to it. It's not
Yeah,
complicated at all.
yeah.
I think there are a lot of tools out there right now. We do have our own too, for keyword clustering. So when we do our keyword research, there are tools for that too. So, for example, you type in, I don't know, women business owners, or just like business, and then filter the list, and you get maybe even hundreds of thousands of keywords.
Mhm.
You basically take that list, plug it into a tool, and then those tools cluster those keywords together.
Mhm.
So it just gives you, your main keyword, which is, for example, how to start a woman-led business, and then you have variations that you can sprinkle throughout your content. And so as you do that on your entire website, you are signaling to Google, like, hey, I'm a really good resource for women who want to start their
Mhm.
businesses, because
Mhm.
I have all of these keywords, I have all of this content. It's all nicely internally linked, pointing to each other, because I know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And then basically they have no choice but to put you at the top, because you are obviously, you know what you're talking about. You're obviously an authority. People come to your website for advice. They stay on the page. They, read a bunch of your articles, not just one. And then as you start growing on Google, you can then start connecting it to all the other platforms. Like, for example, if you start doing videos on YouTube, you can then embed those videos in your articles to make them even better. And then
Mhm.
in turn also embed the articles into YouTube videos. So if anyone wants to know more about, your topic of your YouTube video, they can go read an article on your website. Same for TikTok, same for Facebook. You can repurpose that content
Yeah.
for basically all platforms. So I really am a huge proponent of just publish articles first,
Mhm.
because then you can use that one article to make 2 videos, to make 10 social posts, to make 20 tweets, et cetera,
Mhm.
et cetera. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a never ending resource of marketing, really, for you, that you can just spread it
Everywhere.
everywhere. And you don't have to go from a smaller piece to a bigger piece, because you already have this huge article that
Yeah.
you can turn into many, many other things. And that's, that part of content, that distribution is something that also helps you grow and kind of tap into new audiences as well. Maybe not use Google, even though everyone uses Google, but
Yeah.
Gen Z is using TikTok to search
Mm.
for stuff. So when you have that foundation, you can also build your foundation on TikTok as well, for example. Um, Highly recommended for anyone, who's either an established business or starting a business.
Mhm.
Definitely invest in content. There's like no way that it can go wrong. I don't think so.
Well, and
It can only make your business
really,
better.
what's really important, from what I'm visualizing, listeners, is picture your website as your brick and mortar store. Right? So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe even you own that piece of real estate. So that is so fully proprietarily yours, and yes, we're going to should on this, be the focus of your efforts. And then from there, you distribute to the different places. And yes, people are teaching how to build businesses off of social media, but who owns social media? That's rented space. right? And you can get
Exactly.
kicked out, you can get blocked. And then what happens to all that data? I mean, I'm carefully aware and focusing on building the website at Powerful Inc. So that I have my own proprietary information should I get locked out of Facebook and have to start over a new profile or groups or all these sorts of things. So it is a significant difference. And if Google is going to start tracking you and helping you, I don't know that there's something more powerful than that to have
Yeah.
access in your back pocket, right? And it's readily available. So there's so many benefits here to really establishing these habits and building businesses in a bit of what we might consider an old-fashioned way, but it's tried and true. And some things, right, just
Yeah.
they do last the test of time. So I've already like learned so much about how this back end of things works, and you've explained it in a really simple, really tangible way. So I hope that's helped people who are listening too, because this could really um, bring the following that you've been looking for. And I find the socials noisy. Like everybody's out there honking
It
their
is.
horns, right? And it's sort
Yeah.
of like definitely a good space. I'm meeting a lot of beautiful people that way. I'm using it for networking for sure. But I'm feeling a bit insecure about how loud my horn is compared to some other people.
Yeah, it is challenging. I honestly, I'm not a huge fan of posting on social. I can't remember the last time. I think it was 2022, the last time I posted something on Instagram, which was, oh my God, 2 years ago at this
Yeah,
point.
right. 2024. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time really flies. I just realized that. Okay. Um, and I don't know. I'm like I don't want to do TikTok because
Yeah.
it's just I've never done that. It's kind of weird for me.
Yeah.
YouTube is also a lot of work, and there's a fear of being perceived that I think we all have, and you have to be perceived if you are on social. But if you just want to represent your business, your website is the way to go. I mean, where do
Mhm.
people go to buy stuff from you? Your
Mhm.
website. If you're offering services, where are they going to find
No, it's
out how
leading
to book a
them.
call with you? Your
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
So I also think it's another way if you are involved in that, which I do recommend that people be involved and just building out their presence on Google. Who knows what doors might open? You may become more comfortable with, posting more and just sharing stuff from your articles more,
Mhm.
um, because you can kind of hide behind that. Honestly, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of building my LinkedIn audience, and
Uh-huh.
I'm actually using content from our website to build my audience
Yeah.
there, because I can say like, hey, this is really good advice. You should do this, but it's psychologically, I guess, easier because it comes from the content that I wrote for the
Yeah.
website. It didn't
Yeah.
like came out of my brain directly. It was edited. You're more, I guess, sure of yourself when you post edited work. So
Mhm.
kind of went off topic there. Sorry about that.
No,
But
not at all. It's
uh,
it's good to see how you, is running two different businesses that are in complement, and what you're doing behind the scenes in order to stay an expert and continue to grow and practice the foundations that you've already established, right? So, yeah, why don't we go there a little bit and tell us about what it's like to run the agency and Workello, and what you've got your sights on for those companies for 2024.
Yeah, so on the agency side, full transparency, I'm not running the agency anymore. I'm actually running a couple of departments there now, just because
Oh,
it's
well,
physically impossible to.
that's still
They're
pretty
really small.
fancy.
No, they're really small. They're really
Okay.
small. We're just starting out. So I'm starting out with digital PR, which is pretty much very similar to what I just described with SEO, but it's pitching to journalists,
Okay.
and it's a little bit more creative. You find interesting news stories or interesting data sets that you can present in a new way, and you present yourself as the expert, if you are an expert, of course. Don't lie and say you are. And then you pitch that to journalists and you kind of earn a little bit more love from, other websites. They link back to your website. It's nice. It's interesting. We're also doing video. So finally forced my CEO to become a YouTuber.
Okay.
So I'm kind of running that as well. So that's on the agency side. The agency is working really, really well. My wonderful co-founders are, going strong over there and servicing our clients. So that's amazing. On the Workello side, we are still very new, very young. Obviously, still developing the product. We're still in the phase of, hey, tell me what you want and I will build it for you.
Okay.
So just listening to a lot of feedback from our customers. But I am very proud because we do have, I think, about 100 and something customers so far, and they hired over 500 people. So
Wow.
that's 500 new jobs that
Yeah.
happened, which is very exciting. And especially because I like to recommend people, hey,
Mm.
the world is your hiring grounds. Like you are
Mhm.
not confined to your city or your country. Like, why not give an opportunity to someone else? So a lot of the people that have been hired are, from my country, completely biased for recommending it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, Eastern Europe and kind of Asia and South America as well. Not just the typical North America, Western Europe type of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
I
Great.
am very proud of that. Not that there's anything wrong with North America,
No,
obviously,
but
no.
it really
But
connects the world more together when we do that, right? And then you're bringing the same opportunities to other places that haven't had access to them before. So this threads into
yeah,
the whole oneness and servitude element of how we run our business. And what's so kind of very pure CEO visionary is how you said, yes, we have 100 clients, but we have 500 new jobs.
yeah,
So
that's
the
oh,
impact that you can make that way, and that's 500 new jobs in these markets that maybe don't have the same loud horn as North America has established so far. So this is beautiful, like brings
yeah.
together more cultures, more diversity, more magic, in my opinion.
Thank you. Yeah, that's 100% it. I mean, coming from the place that I'm coming from, um, you don't really see a lot of people from kind of this area of the world that are, social media influencers or
Mhm.
I don't know, CEOs, COOs of very important companies, which is something that I'm hoping is going to change soon.
Mm.
But also maybe like this a little bit naive of me, but um, by bringing companies that are not based, here or in other countries similar to mine, and hiring a bunch of people from these areas, obviously you're paying them a lot better than the domestic companies would. I'm hoping that over time, maybe the companies that are based in those countries think a little bit and say, hey, we're not going to have, anyone to work for us because obviously people are getting better opportunities and then they raise their standards.
Yeah, sure.
I won't be the one to change that, obviously,
But
but
you'll be
it's like
part of
I'm kind of
it.
hoping that,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
like let's
already.
work towards that,
Yeah, yeah,
just make the world a little bit more equal, I
yeah,
guess. But
absolutely.
that's like a 50-year plan.
Yeah, well, great. Hey, you said
Like,
you were only in your
see
30s.
what happens. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to turn the internet off anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. We'll
Yeah,
see what happens.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of like the noble way of thinking. Obviously, when you run a business, you know why you're running it. Like you're running it
Right.
to make it successful, to make money. So I'm not gonna lie, there's also that part of the story. But um, it, I don't know. I think we're all working towards the same goal, and that is to just be smarter every day and kind of help each other out any
Yeah.
way we can. So yeah.
So, why don't you share a little bit of coming out of school, writing, and then meeting some of these opportunities that might have flirted with you for a little while before you said yes to them.
Yeah.
And how you've changed, like looking at Gordana now, 2024 to 5 years ago, 6 years ago, how is this what you would have thought? And what would, in the frame of coming to this point, what would present day Gordana say to back then version?
Definitely did not expect any of this.
Mhm.
I don't want to say I had like giving up because I wasn't giving up at that point, but I was kind of tired of just that freelancer life. That was really, really difficult. Obviously,
Mhm.
I had a few really bad jobs in between. So, when you're just tired, I can't do this anymore. I'm just being mistreated by so many people. And I'm never going to get an opportunity to get out of this. So I was definitely in that mindset because it was several years of that and it was really, really,
Oh, wow.
really hard.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky that I met my CEO and my co-founder now. Um, Even though it was completely bizarre, like he was late to our interview twice, not once, but twice. I usually would have just said, okay, no, nothing's going to happen with this. Moving on to the next one. But turns out he was really great. Um, he explained what he wanted to do. And for some reason, I thought that, oh, yeah, this is exciting. I would love to actually build something from scratch and, try new things.
Mm.
And I think the theme of my entire journey with them was, hey, do you want to do this? And then I say, okay, sure, I'll do it, even though
Okay.
it's something I've never tried before. So compared to 5 or 6 years ago, when I was kind of hopeless, honestly, and just thought, no, let me just find something, get my work done for the day and
Mm.
go on to
Right.
live my life. Now
Like
I'm
a
a little bit
job.
more hopeful and
Yeah.
yeah, like a job, but just like something that's not going to drain your energy or not to have like a crazy boss. We've all been
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Basically just kind of leave me alone job, just let me do
Mhm.
my work and like let me leave it aside. Now I'm a little bit more hopeful, and I think have more courage to try new things, which I never had the courage to do before, except for that one time when obviously it worked. Um, so I find myself saying yes to more things, and just learning new stuff as I go,
Mhm.
because I think there's honestly nothing in this world that you can't Google and learn
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
from Google.
Yeah.
So what's the harm in saying yes,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I definitely know what it's like to be kind of stuck in a place that's not honestly not the best and see no way out of it.
And
So
so
I
what
was really
what
incredibly lucky.
triggered looking for who's now your co-founder? Is it Jordan? Is that his name?
Yeah, Nick Jordan. Yeah,
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 Jordan. So
yeah,
what was behind that? Because it sounds like there was some intuition where, typically you'd be like, forget this, but something was there that kept you connected, and it brought forth a new opportunity. It brought new life. Plus, you guys, when we get together and work outside of ourselves, we can create some more beautiful things because you're adding to what's already there and gaining a different perspective, complementary perspective to it, right? And I mean, just looking at you talk
absolutely.
about it, you seem alive and excited and kind of shiny about
Yeah.
what you can do because you're not trying to figure it out all yourself, which can be really lonely and tiresome.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think there are some people that kind of change your life when you meet
Mm.
them, and you're kind of destined to meet them. I know it's funny to say that about your boss, but Nick's actually my friend too, so I
Yeah,
can say it. I don't know. There was just something different there. As I said, I think I said it before, a lot of, when you are a freelance writer, editor, any type of creative person, I think artists, illustrators will know this a lot because people kind of think that, you're just going to do this, for cheap or for free, or they don't really respect your craft that
yeah,
much,
yeah,
which is very sad. Obviously, you
yeah,
should respect any person, but also, a creative person's craft because it's like you're a creative, you're not an engineer, you're not,
Mhm.
a biologist or whatever, something that requires math. Um,
Yeah,
So, a lot of, I think, people in this creative industry have probably come across a lot of people who think like that. But, obviously Nick was a lot different. And my other co-founder, Boyan, he also falls in that category of really amazing people that kind of recognize how hard that work is and how much it is needed for anything that they want to do, because they are not creatives, they are not writers, and they understand that they need someone who is and who will help them
Yeah.
do that. So
Yeah.
definitely, I don't know, something happens. I'm still not sure what, but
Okay.
I'm incredibly,
Beautiful.
incredibly grateful.
Yeah.
Um, it's one of those relationships that, I don't know, people write articles about co-founder relationships and how complicated they are, and they are, but when you get together, you can really, really make something special,
Mhm.
and, something that kind of survived the test of time, I guess, because we are still here, we're still going
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Things are better than they were. So
Yeah.
must be something good.
Yeah. Oh, that's so wonderful. And so what are you hoping to, you know, I mean, obviously open to opportunities that come your way. Sounds like you're focusing on Workello and still I want listeners to appreciate that, with my perception and perhaps yours of Gordana's portfolio so far, still the reality of what it is to be a startup, probably the first 3 to 5 years until you really establish a stake in the marketplace and, consistent over the calendar year of client traffic, because if we look at month to month, it can be a bit too short term, um,
Yeah.
and get up and running. So you're still kind of moving into the house and adjusting things and figuring out the market and the services a little bit and looking to
Yeah.
expand because you come from a good foundation now. And so,
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, when we started it, my two co-founders, Nick and Boyan, said something like, "Oh, the first 5 to 7 years, nothing is going to happen,
five to
and we're
seven.
kind of in build mode." And that was so
Yeah.
depressing to me at
Yeah.
the time. I was like, "What?
Yeah, I mean, kids are well into
Years?
grade one by 5 to 7.
Yeah, like
Goodness.
what's gonna happen in 5 to 7 years?"
Mhm.
Turns out they were right. And 3 years flew by like this. I didn't even feel it. Like first year is just building the most simple version of what you can build and
Mhm.
making sure it works.
Mhm.
And getting a couple clients to prove that it works. And then after that, there was more building and then more building and then more building. And then the recession hits and people, stop hiring. So they don't really have to use your tool that much. So you're kind of waiting it out and just building more, building more. So definitely changed my mind on that. I understand now why people say 5 to 7 years,
Right.
but I honestly believed that, oh my God, it's a startup. It's going to be a success story in 1 year and it's going to be huge. And I think a lot of like young founders think like that. And then, if they kind of get disappointed, they might quit, give up. But if you can, don't quit. If you have to kind of do something else to support yourself while your startup is taking off, do it if you really believe in it. Um, but I do get it. It is a long, long, long journey.
Mhm.
You have to give up a lot to be able to do this, which is incredibly hard.
Mhm.
So yeah, just if you can, don't give up. And there are better days, hopefully, out there in
Yeah.
5 to 7 years.
In 5 to 7 years. Well, you're coming up to that 5, 6 year mark now, right? So fingers
Soon, yeah.
crossed.
I think we started in 2021,
Okay.
August. So still a little bit more to go, but
Yeah.
we're holding on.
Holding on.
But yeah,
Yeah, it is a marathon and there's a lot of different things being shared in the online spaces I'm hanging out on. And when I start to feel a bit daunted about my own online coaching business, I like to think of an example of like a long trusted company, you know, that has been around and has lasted through all the changes. And then it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if they can do it at very
Yeah,
complicated and often physical product levels, you know, there's ways that I can support myself. And you guys, it's really softened the attachment to the outcome and allowed it to be more about the journey. And then
yeah,
you know, you're just like in a lighter space. You stay in a more creative space. And I'm a systems girl, right? But 2023 really moved me into more of a creative soft space. And now I'm like kind of enjoying both energies and bringing them together in yet another new way that I probably wouldn't have thought even a year ago, like women's circles as a new thing. And the attention around it is growing, which is a sign of the desire in the market. I love doing it. It's super easy. I have no idea how I'll monetize it, but there's, you know, things are attracting to that. So it's an indication to continue to pursue, where if I had kind of kept a more linear approach to things, I'd be missing out on other opportunities.
100%. And I think what you're doing is, you said you're a systems girl, and that is amazing. I love systems.
Yeah.
I love them. Our entire company runs on very nice collection of knowledge-based articles. Um, but just you putting yourself out there and inviting people to talk to you about these things, and going live on Facebook, and posting these podcasts, and Instagram and everything, that is a huge thing. And yeah, you might have not monetized it now, but maybe in a couple months something just clicks and you're like, oh yeah, I could do this, for example, which never would have happened if you never ventured to this
That's
kind
it.
of more creative outlet. So um, both sides are very, very important. One
Yeah.
cannot exist without the other. And
Right.
um, yeah, when you marry them, you
Mhm.
get a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right? So, Gordana, as we kind of come into the culmination of this beautiful and highly valuable conversation, some fun questions that I've been thinking. We talked about present self to past self. Let's go present self to future. So, either you asking Gordana 2 years from now or picturing what she would say to you, you know, whatever kind of feels, but what are we connecting to in the next versions? What do you think's up
oh
ahead?
wow. All right. That is very interesting. I always kind of think backwards,
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping to just, keep doing good work, keep doing creative work, which lately I found is something that fuels me way more than technical things. That I definitely had my phase with data and technical. Very much hoping to keep doing more creative work, and like you said, lean more into that kind of softer life.
mhm,
Maybe I don't have to chase after every single opportunity that comes my way. Maybe I can choose my opportunities and align with what I want my life to look like. So I would really love it if I could do that in the next
yeah,
couple of years. We'll see
yeah,
what happens. Um, so yeah, just not saying no to things, and trying to align with what I really want,
right.
which is just to live a very happy and fulfilled life on all fronts. I would love to have a family. I would love to move to Spain,
Oh,
do all of those things, but also be successful in my
uh-huh,
career.
yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it goes well.
Well,
We'll
even
talk
just
in two
having
years.
that awareness, like I'm getting goosebumps because it's so beautiful what I'm hearing. And I want the listeners to pay attention, as always. Are you guys listening? There's going to be a quiz. There isn't. The quiz is your life and whether or not it became what you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
You're
uh,
describing the broader strategy of bringing everything together, of bringing business by design impact through business, lifestyle and choice and energetic frequency all coming together in one complementary system to serve
Yes.
other and create this outward impact, right? And an impact that, again, I want to come back to 100 clients, 500 jobs, an impact like that feeds the soul, that has a real meaning, and helps you deliver or participate in an active role of impact to others.
Oh my God, you put it so nicely. I
I
love
did.
this. That is exactly what I wanted to say, but couldn't find the words. That is exactly it. Yeah, just doing meaningful things in life. Money's nice and everything, but only once you kind of are happy in that way, when you don't have to think about your basic stuff like rent, bills, food, everything, you start to realize that, like, yes, you definitely do need it, but you also need this other thing, and that is to be useful, to be meaningful and purposeful with what you're doing, and not just what I thought life would be like 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Just give me something to do.
Yeah, life got bigger and can continue to the more that you know, open up to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I just love this new, I mean, it's not new, but I kind of recently, in the past, I think year and a half, started following, podcasts like yours. And, I work with a lot of women, 70%, 80% of our company is women. And that
Amazing.
is amazing. I love that.
Amazing.
I started following podcasts like yours, and just seeing what other women are doing, and kind of how they're handling this world, and
Mm.
also balancing their lives with the business and everything else. So I'm pretty excited to keep listening and keep following.
Yeah.
um,
And
can't
playing a
wait to
part
see
in
what
it.
happens next.
Awesome.
Yeah, and playing a part. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. Well, way to be a leader. Thank you so much for sharing all of this
Thank you.
knowledge. That was not scary or complicated or difficult. I feel rejuvenated. I like writing. It's easy, but I feel more empowered now to show up with just that much better skill in what I'm doing, better strategy. So
Oh,
that's
amazing.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and if you need any help, if anyone needs any help, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm even on Instagram, even though I don't post there.
We can come
But
find you
I'm
there.
lurking.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm lurking. So, if anyone needs any help, please ping me. I would love to help you out. With resources or advice or anything, I have a bunch of resources that people
Yeah.
can use
Yeah.
um, to just learn more. So,
Awesome. Awesome. We'll
yeah.
definitely share you around because the more we get together, the better it is, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
amazing,
Beautiful.
amazing. That would be
Great.
great.
Thank you, love. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You too. Thank you so much for having me.